Once upon a time, in a far-off fairy tale kingdom full of sparkling rivers and candy cane trees, there lived a little fairy named Gillameel. Now, Gillameel wasn't just any fairy. She was a bit of a rascal, a tiny whirlwind of mischief with a wand that sparkled just as brightly as her naughty little eyes. She had incredible magical powers, but her favorite thing to do was play tricks on everyone. One sunny morning, Gillameel zipped through the castle gardens, giggling to herself. Hee hee, who should I prank today? Oh, I know, Shay whispered, her eyes landing on the young Prince Babu, who was proudly practicing his royal wave to the birds. Gillameel twirled her wand in a little circle, muttering a silly spell. Poof! In the blink of an eye, the prince's magnificent chalet crown vanished. In its place sat a large, round, orange pumpkin. Prince Babu felt the sudden weight on his head. He touched it and felt the bumpy skin. Hey, what is this? Am I a prince or the owner of a vegetable stall? He wailed, his voice echoing through the courtyard. His shoulders slumped and a tear rolled down his cheek. It's so funny and so sad at the same time, with a giant pumpkin perched on his royal hairdo. Just then, a sleek black cat with emerald green eyes sauntered into the garden. This was Tunton, known throughout the kingdom as the cleverest cat you'd ever meet. He let out a soft meow, his tail twitching with curiosity. Why all the fuss, Your Highness? Are you trying a new fashion trend? The pumpkin prince look is ... unique, Tunton said, a sly smile playing on his whiskers. The prince sniffled. It's not funny, Tunton. It's that naughty fairy Gillameel. She's always causing trouble. You ruined my royal look and my entire day. Tunton circled the prince, stroking his chin with a paw. I see. This fairy has become a real menace, Rue. It's clear she needs to learn a lesson. But fighting magic with more magic isn't the way. We need to outsmart her. Let's fight her naughtiness not with power, but with a clever plan. With a flick of his tail, Tunton trotted off to find the fairy. He found her perched on a mushroom, still giggling about her pumpkin prank. Tunton cleared his throat. Gillameel, he began, his voice calm and smooth. Bird, you're the most powerful fairy in the entire kingdom. But are you really? Are you truly as mighty as you say? Gillameel puffed out her chest, her wings fluttering with pride. Of course I am. I'm Gillameel. I can do anything I want. I can turn a river into chocolate milk. I can make a mountain sing opera. I can even thoughts. That's all very impressive, Tunton interrupted smoothly. But can you do something truly difficult? Something that proves your ultimate power? Can you make yourself completely invisible? Gillameel's eyes lit up at the challenge. Invisible? Ha! That's easy peasy, she boasted. Woo! Without a second thought, she waved her wand, shouted Invisibilia, and with a shimmer of light, she vanished completely. See? I told you! Her voice echoed from thin air. Tunton looked around, pretending to be amazed. Wow! You really are gone. I can't see you at all. This is incredible. Then, he added with a mischievous grin in his voice. All right, you've proven your point. Now, try to make yourself visible again. There was a moment of silence. Then, a tiny, panicked voice came from nowhere. Oh. Gillameel tried to cast a reverse spell, but nothing happened. She'd been so eager to show off that she had completely forgotten the incantation to reappear. She was trapped in her own magical trick. Oh no! She cried out. I can't remember the spell. I'm stuck. I'm invisible forever. Tunton sat down calmly, curling his tail around his paws. You see, Gillameel, he said gently. When you constantly use your power to play tricks and cause trouble for others, you're bound to get caught in your own trap someday. Intelligence and wisdom are far more powerful than simple magic. Gillameel's invisible form seemed to droop. She felt a deep sense of embarrassment and shame. all her fun and games had led to this. She was alone, unseen, and had only herself to blame. Front. The empty air, her small voice whispered, "You're right, Tonton. I've been so silly and mean. I promise, if I ever become visible again, I will never use my magic to hurt or annoy anyone. I'll be a good fairy." Seeing that she had truly learned her lesson, Tonton whispered the reverse spell to her. With another shimmer of light, Jillamil reappeared, looking very humbled. The first thing she did was fly straight to the prince. With a soft flick of her wand, the pumpkin on his head disappeared, and his shiny crown was back where it belonged. "Hey!" the prince exclaimed, touching his head. "It feels so light again. My crown is back." Who looked at Jillamil, who gave him a shy, apologetic smile. Soon, the prince, Tonton, and even Jillamil began to laugh. Too. The tension was broken, and a new friendship had begun. From that day forward, Jillamil changed completely. She discovered the true joy of her magic. Instead of putting pumpkins on heads, she made flowers bloom in the most barren fields. Instead of turning crowns into vegetables, she brought gentle, life-giving rain to the farmers' crops. She used her powers to spread happiness, especially among the children, creating sparkling illusions of dragons and castles in the sky for them to enjoy. And so, the naughty fairy learned that true magic wasn't about the power to play tricks, but the power to be kind. 2. It's a reminder for all of us that intelligence often beats brute force, and that being kind is the greatest and most beautiful magic of all. Thank you so much for joining our story today. If you in a quiet little village, nestled among green fields and babbling brooks, lived a young boy named Ali. Ali was known for his kind heart and strong faith. As the holy month of Ramadan began, a sense of peace and devotion filled the air. Ali, along with his family and most of the villagers, observed the daily fast from dawn until dusk. It was a time for reflection, prayer, and gratitude. In Ali's backyard lived a very special hen and a very clever duck. These weren't just ordinary farm animals. The hen laid the most beautiful, speckled eggs, and the duck laid large, pearly white ones. But they had a secret. They only laid their eggs for those who were fasting. It was as if they could sense the sincerity in people's hearts. Every evening, when it was time to break the fast, Ali would go to the coop and find 2 fresh eggs waiting for him, a little gift for his day's devotion. His mother would cook them, and they tasted more delicious than any other food. It was a small, daily miracle that reminded Ali of the blessings that came with faith and patience. The villagers whispered about Ali's magical hen and duck. They saw it as a sign, a reward for their collective piety during the holy month. The children of the village were especially fascinated. They would gather near Ali's fence, hoping to catch a glimpse of the blessed birds. The story of the fasting-friendly fowls became a local legend. A gentle reminder that goodness is always recognized, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. However, not everyone in the village shared this spirit of devotion. 2 mischievous men, known for their laziness and love of shortcuts, heard the stories. They didn't fast. They spent their days lounging in the shade, complaining about their hunger, while others patiently waited for sunset. The idea of these special eggs was too tempting for them to ignore. Why should Ali get all the good eggs? One grumbled to the other. "We're hungry now. Let's just go and take them. How hard can it be to outsmart a chicken and a duck?" So, they hatched a plan. Under the cover of the midday sun, when the village was quiet and most people were resting indoors, the 2 men crept towards Ali's house. They tiptoed into the backyard, feeling quite clever. The hen and the duck were peacefully resting in their coop. "This is too easy," one of the men whispered, reaching his hand in to grab the eggs he assumed would be there. But the coop was empty. Of course it was. True birds only laid eggs for those who fasted, and only at the end of the day. Confused and annoyed, the men started rummaging around, making a commotion. This woke the hen and the duck, and they were not happy. Suddenly, the quiet little hen let out a furious squawk and flapped her wings wildly, pecking at the man's hands. He yelped in surprise, pulling his hand back. Then came the duck. Ahoo! With a determined quack, it waddled out and started chasing the second man, nipping at his ankles with surprising force. The two would-be thieves were completely taken off guard. They had expected to sneak in and out, not to be attacked by a feathered security team. They stumbled and tripped over each other, trying to escape the relentless pecking and quacking. The hen flew up, landing on one man's head, flapping and clucking, while the duck cornered the other against the fence, honking indignantly. It was a comical sight, two grown men being thoroughly defeated by a small hen and a duck. They finally managed to scramble over the fence and run away. Empty-handed and covered in dust and a few feathers, their grand plan a total failure. From behind a nearby tree, a group of village children had watched the whole thing. They had been curious about the men sneaking into Ali's yard and had hidden to see what would happen. At first, they were scared, but then they could unhelp but giggle at the sight of the thieves being chased away by the birds. They saw with their own eyes that the stories were true. The hen and duck weren't just special. They were protectors of what was right. They protected the blessings meant for those with good intentions. The children looked at each other, a new understanding dawning on them. The incident wasn't just funny, it was a lesson. They saw that trying to take something that wasn't rightfully theirs, especially through deceit, only led to trouble and embarrassment. On the other hand, Ali, who was patient and honest, received blessings every single day. One of the older children turned to the others and said, "You know, Ali gets eggs because he fasts. Maybe we should try fasting too." A murmur of agreement went through the small group. The idea of earning a special reward, and more importantly, of doing the right thing, suddenly seemed very appealing. The next morning, a handful of those children woke up before dawn to eat with their families, determined to try fasting for the very first time. And their stomachs rumbled during the day, but they remembered the hen and the duck and the foolish thieves. They encouraged each other, playing quiet games and sharing stories to pass the time. That evening, as the sun began to set, the children who had fasted gathered near Ali's home. When Ali came out to break his fast, he was surprised to see the group of children waiting for him by the fence. They looked tired but proud. "Oli," one of them called out, "We fasted today." "We really did." Ali's face lit up with a warm smile. He was so happy to see them. "That's wonderful," he said. "Ramadan is a time for us all to be better and to share in its blessings. I'm so proud of you." Then walked to the coop, and to everyone's amazement, it wasn't just his usual 2 eggs waiting for him. There, nestled in the straw, were several extra eggs, one for each child who had completed their first fast. The children gasped in delight. It was real. Their sincere effort had been rewarded. They each received an egg, holding it carefully, like a precious treasure. The story of that day spread through the village like wildfire. It became a tale told every Ramadan, a story about faith, consequences, and the funny way the universe protects goodness. The 2 thieves were too embarrassed to show their faces for days, and they learned a valuable lesson about honesty. More importantly, the children learned that blessings aren't just things you can take. They are things you earn through sincerity and good deeds. The tale of the hen and the duck served as a beautiful, living parable for the village. It taught them that faith is a shield, or good intentions, and honest actions protect us and bring us blessings, often in ways we can't even imagine. And on the flip side, trying to cut corners or act with a bad heart will almost always lead you into some kind of trouble, even if it's just being chased by a very determined duck. And so, the rhythm of Ramadan continued, filled with a little more laughter, a little more understanding, and a lot more faith. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for more stories.